Good evening. And we are quite grateful for the good energy that you are sending this way. This one was a bit knocked off balance by the snaps and crackles and pops, which would be distracting to anyone. And it is for this reason that we do invite all of you to have some kind of a practice in focus, in rebalancing, in centering yourself. For is not your life filled with moments that knock you off balance? We would be remiss if we did not address that one item that is on everyone's mind thanks to your media, and it is not politics this evening. It is that virus which all of you have heard so much about. And the reason we bring it up this evening is because it is so vibrant in the collective consciousness of humanity at this time that it is seen by all of those in what you would know as the heavenly realms. You can see it like a gray blanket that blankets your earth, but we are not speaking of the virus itself, but of the fear that accompanies it. And this has built upon itself to the point where it has gone viral, the fear. And so we wish to bring a bit of reason back into this evening. Not that we are the sole voice of reason. Your heart knows the truth. And we wish to simply remind you not to get caught up in what others are saying. We are quite aware that you can now find on your computers statistics that will show you have far more to fear getting behind the wheel of your cars than from a virus. We will not dwell upon this. Our topic this evening is how it is part of the human way to focus on the negative. This is built into this biological machine that you call a body. It is a primitive machine, this one you wear around your soul. It is built with the fight or flight nature. By its very nature, it is built to protect you. You have a part of your brain, the oldest part of your brain, that keeps you out of trouble. And so when you sense a danger, you focus upon that to the exclusion of reason. You wish to run. And so we wish to tell you, when you hear the reports on your television, exercise your free will and turn it off. We wish to tell you that you have the precautions in mind already. You can shake hands. You can hug if you wish, if you have a strong constitution, if you take care of your body. This is no different than the influenza, which kills far more than this virus has to date. And you know this. We do not wish to harp upon that and cause yet more fear. We simply want you to be aware that you cannot help but feel the fear. But knowing this, acknowledge it and transcend it. What does this word mean that you have already heard once this evening? To transcend means to go beyond. You can rise above to transcend something, or you can go within to transcend. And where is it that you go when you go above or within? You go to another state of being of what you know as you. But this you is far more than you with a name that you have identified with from the time your parents gave you a name. You are far more than that story. You are a multidimensional being, just as was stated earlier. And you can choose the level and the dimension to which you go. For in truth, ultimately, there are layers and levels upon levels, but it is like your Maslow's triangle, the pyramid. These layers go like this until they reach the apex, and that is where you find pure oneness. All of these levels represent extensions of this one light, this one source. And as extensions of that, you can tap into any of the levels. Where will you find the greatest peace? The answer may surprise you. It is not only at this highest level, it is here as well at the human level. You do not have to go anywhere to find peace, to escape the distress that some of you feel upon reading your headlines. The peace is inherent in your true nature as the light. It is merely that at what you would understand as the lower levels, the more dense physical realm with which you are so familiar now, it is here where the layers that disguise your light are a bit heavier. But this does not mean that you have to get a shovel and excavate. You simply can get into the practice of disengaging your focus, of setting aside the snap, crackles, and pops which draw your attention away from the voice within that is speaking, as if through a microphone to you at all times. You may call it the still small voice, but it is a booming voice when you get the human voice out of the way. It is a voice that will speak so clearly, it will tell you which card to pick. It will tell you which book to read. It will tell you which person to speak to. It will tell you what choices to make, and you need not consult a psychic, an oracle, a deck of cards. When this voice is here within you already, it is your voice with a capital Y, when you can disengage from the story and know that there is no my and mine and yours and his and hers. There is only I and mine at the highest level. Are we making sense to you? You have come to understand mine as the part of the story, and this mind tends to hoard things such as your disinfectant soap and your masks when fear gets in the way. But that one who knows I am one with the only I that ultimately exists knows that mine is no different than anyone else who says mine. It is all the belonging of this pure awareness. This is what you come to know when sitting in the power, when sitting in the silence, when you silence that voice that says, be afraid, be very, very afraid. This is what keeps you addicted to the story, the fear. You can break this addiction, for love and peace feels so much better. It is that feeling that draws you like a magnet back home with a capital H, and you need not die from the physical body to experience this home. It is the one you hear when you turn off the news. It is the one that lets you know all is well. It is the one that tells you, even if I should contract this virus, life is eternal. I have nothing to fear. It is the one who clings to the story and fears losing the story that suffers. This message will never change. This is your path to come to know you are so much more than the story. Ultimately, you are a Norse god named Odin in another form. Ultimately, you are all that is, and yet your focus for the moment, as guided by the one light, is clearly on this earthly life for a reason. For the joy of it, for the experience of it, for the creativity inherent in being an expression of this light in physical form. And we hear you well. Some of you are going through great challenges now. You cannot escape them. And as you go through them, you will cry and say, I am not feeling the joy. And yet this is not a human joy of which we speak. It is a transcendental state which goes beyond the human ups and downs that know joy and distress. It is the ananda, the bliss that knows no opposite. It is a balanced state, this joy. It is a state that says, even though my human nature at this time is going through an experience that it would rather not have, beneath it, there is even a bit of joy in knowing the fullness of this emotion of sorrow, of pain. Have not some of your most challenging times been filled with such love that it would drop you to your knees? How to explain that? The way to explain that is because that kind of love is the transcendent love that knows no opposite. It is a balanced state, quite different from love and hate at the human level. We challenge you all this evening to find for yourselves the transcendent states. They are a diverse list of them that include balance, flow, creativity, joy, humility. You may think these all have opposites. This is a different level than those words we have just stated that in the earthly experience do have opposites. We are speaking of that which transcends the duality of being human. Find those states, and when life gets a bit too challenging, rise above and know these states are available at any time. This is your true power. If you have felt powerless until this moment, set the intention of coming to know these states again. For you at a soul level have never forgotten them. They are inherent in your very nature. If you are confused by this, ask for divine help and assistance. I wish to get to know true transcendental joy or true transcendental peace that knows no opposite. This is an excellent first step, and you are given so many opportunities in your daily life in this human world of duality to seek these. You can look outward for these states, but all around you, you will only experience duality. Go within and find there the balance by connecting with your true nature. We wish to address a topic which many find a bit confusing. They do wonder if there is ultimately a reabsorption into the one, into the state of pure being after leaving this life. Many say, I do not wish to return to human life. I am done with this. What can I do so as to never have to come back here again? Have you not experienced this from time to time? But we wish to tell you that your infinity sign holds within it a bit of a clue to the nature of the creative process. There is a constant push and pull between the state of pure being and the expression of that source of full potential. All that you are experiencing here now in this earthly realm arises from a sea, a field of consciousness replete with potential. You are co-creators of this world you are experiencing. That is why we could not help but speak about what is on all of your minds this evening. To rein that in a bit, or you are creating more fear. But that creative surge does ultimately complete the loop and return to pure being. Yet because of the nature of that creative potential, so bursting forth, it bursts forth. It cannot remain still. And so you have this constant push and pull. There is no beginning and no end. That is the bottom line. You may return for a bit to pure being, but the true nature of being is to express itself. And once expressed, there you find the urge to return to pure being. And so it goes like this for eternity. Neither one completely satisfied, yet there is so much joy in that dance, in that experience. You touch pure love, you go forth and experience the opposite. You know pure being, you go forth and experience all opposites. And on it goes. It sounds a bit exhausting, does it not? Rest is built into the process. Fear not. You are here by choice. You may argue with this. You may deny this when your life becomes a bit of a challenge. But to go back and rewind your recording and listen to what was said earlier, and there you find the answer. Transcend the duality. It is part of your nature. You are the one from which all of this arises. There is only one being, one entity, one absolute consciousness that becomes the me and the you. We're getting a bit deep this evening. Many times we simply plant seeds. There are some here to whom this is old news. There are some here to whom this is a bit foreign. What were they talking about? They are saying. And it matters not. You are merely at different places along this infinity loop. And is that not a relief? No longer to have to compare yourselves to each other in a hierarchical nature. Have we not said to you in the past, it is not a hierarchy. We are all equals, for we are all at different places on the infinity loop of the creative process. Its very essence is love, joy, and peace. We are so very grateful to be meeting you here this evening in the middle. We look forward to answering a few questions this evening. It need not be about any topic we have addressed to this point. We will entertain the first one now, if you please.
Where does evil come from in their group?
Evil is inherent in the world of duality. It can be no other way. But once you realize that there is that other level that transcends the evil and the good, you can rise above it for greater perspective. There are ways to get beyond evil here. You can judge the level of awakening of a group consciousness by how they deal with these lesser urges. You have your competitive sports. This is a very good way to work off what you would know as a negative charge. Many ways indeed, but know that even though beyond the good and the bad is peace, you cannot have one without the other in a world of duality. Happily, all is mediated by the higher level, whose basic essence is goodness. And we thank you for that question. Is there another?
When you are dealing with humanity and forgiveness, it becomes rather difficult sometimes, other times not. What would you have to say about these things?
We would have you repeat a phrase we have shared in the past, and it is this: forgive me for ever thinking I was anything less than love. The opposites to what you would understand as pure being, consciousness, and existence is aggression, ignorance, and desire. The former are the highest levels. Aggression, desire, and ignorance are the expressions that arise in the world of duality. And we look now at ignorance. This is where humans go awry. Ignorance of true nature. Your true nature is the light, is the absolute consciousness from which the world of duality arises. As more and more individuals learn to go within, to shift the focus from an outward focus to an inward one, to hear that booming voice within, ignorance dissolves. What arises are the essential natures. This is why the sages advise: you must deal with thyself first. Find the peace within. Worry not about those around you, but find peace at home first. For until and unless each expression of the light comes to know themselves as the light, you will not know peace. You will know ignorance. So, forgive me for ever thinking I was anything less than love is a powerful statement. This is forgiving yourself for ignorance. When you overcome that ignorance, you understand why others are still trapped in the good versus evil loop. We hope this has helped to shed some light on this. Is there another?
Can you choose to become an archangel, and do archangels come back?
This is just another level within the loop. It is a natural progression. This choice might be made by one at a lower level who thinks that would be pretty cool to be an archangel. But the light ultimately is orchestrating all of this. It is a natural emanation of the light at that level. This is getting into dimensions which you will have more and more a glimpse of after you shed this physical body. It is not so much a choice as the so-called lesser levels are a choice. It is through this process of returning to source. We hope this has answered that question. One more, please.
So it feels like on a physical basis, on a physical body response, with the agitation of our country right now between politics and coronavirus and the economy and all the other stuff that's piling in on us, it feels like there's an energetic pull into that. Can you
This is the push and pull we were speaking of. It is the soul within saying there is a better way. You are getting close to your tipping point, and you will come to understand that there is always chaos before that tipping takes place. So do not despair. Feel hopeful. Notice that this push and pull causes those who are uncomfortable to seek a better way. You will see an acting out. You are seeing that quite well now. But you are also experiencing a great shift in awareness. You are seeing now that this virus is a bit of a help to all of you. For there is no one who is immune to this. You have your politics and you can choose sides, but you cannot choose who will get the virus. This affects all of you. Do you understand? Finally, you have something that will bring you together instead of causing division, and yet you will find some who point fingers, will you not? Even with this virus. If you can use what you know in your heart to educate others, to show others how to find peace, to not throw oil onto the flame, to be the presence of peace, which is why you have come here, to express your true nature, for the experience of knowing yourself as this, then you will find this joy. Joy, if you wish to call that as another name for God, loves joy and knows it beneath all of the tumult. Therefore, seek that. Turn away from the fear. Forgive yourselves for ever thinking you are anything less than joy. Again, you will always encounter challenges in the human world. May our word for this evening be transcendence. This is not something you must work for. Simply know what it means. It is a shift, a holy shift. We thank you so very much for your attention, your presence with us this evening. We and your guides are always with you. You are part and parcel of the higher realms. It can be no other way. Do not forget this. If you find yourself in fear, go to the heart, the center of you, and find the remembrance. Take a deep breath, a very slow and deep breath, and as you exhale, release the tension. It is that simple. To come back into balance once again. What a blessing it will be if all of you cease shaking hands and do this motion to each other. Perhaps you will finally find the oneness. You are so very loved. It can be no other way. It is who you are. And we bid you good night.